Zizi. Let us not just innovate, let us educate too. While evidence of ancient Egyptian knowledge of marijuana's psychoactive properties is mostly circumstantial, there is an unmistakable written record by their Greek counterparts. In fact, the word cannabis comes from an ancient Greek translation of a Scythian word. It is generally believed that hemp, hanep in Old English, comes from the same Scythian source. But the Grecian relationship with cannabis is not purely etymological. The Greek historian Herodotus was the first person to make any mention of cannabis in Western literature. He wrote extensively on the Scythian people, a nomadic tribe he had encountered in his many travels. According to Herodotus, the Scythians used cannabis in the manufacture of their clothes. They also used it in religious ceremony accompanying a funeral. After the burial, the Scythians cleansed themselves as follows. They anoint and wash their heads, and for their bodies, set up 3 poles leaning together to a point and cover these with wool mats. Then, in a space so enclosed to the best of their ability, they make a pit in the center beneath the poles and mats and throw red-hot stones into it. The Scythians then take this cannabis and, crawling into the tents, throw it onto the red-hot stones where it smolders and sends forth such fumes that no Greek vapor bath could surpass it. The Scythians howl in their joy caused by the vapors. And while mainstream historians tend to reject the idea that these practices found their way into Greek culture, there is evidence to the contrary. For instance, the Scythians, notorious for their warlike nature, made up a large part of the Greek police force. It is highly unlikely then that their unique cultural traditions would not be continued during their tenure in Greece. What's more, Herodotus makes reference of another nomadic tribe whose use of cannabis was not so sacramental. He said, they have parties and sit around a fire. They throw some of it into the flames. As it burns, it smokes like incense, and the smell of it makes them drunk, just as wine does. As more fruit is thrown on, they get more and more intoxicated until finally they jump up and start dancing and singing. Outside of these direct written references, it should also be taken into account that the ancient Greeks had continuing conflict with the Aryan tribes that went on to form the Persian Empire. It is very likely that through the Persian invasion, cannabis came to be known in Greece. But regardless of how they first encountered it, ancient Greek physicians used cannabis medicinally to treat a variety of conditions such as edema and even tumors. It seems impossible then that its psychoactive properties would go unnoticed by the philosophically minded among the ancient Greeks. While there is little written about this in academia, it is more likely because of the taboo nature of entheogenic research and less so because of Grecian use of cannabis did not exist. Another possible reason for the limited information on the topic is that the psycho-spiritual rituals of the ancient Greek philosophers were heavily guarded secrets. While generally shrouded in mystery, there are some indications of cannabis's psychoactive use in ancient Greece. For one, we have ancient Greek writings of an incense known as Scythian fire being used in a cult of Asclepius, the god of medicine. Additionally, the Thracians, another nomadic tribe living amongst the Greeks, had within them a group known to the Greeks as Kapnobatai, or smoke walkers. These smoke walkers were dancers and shaman who used the smoke of hemp to bring about a trance-like state. These Persian, Thracian, and Scythian practices hardly went unnoticed by the Greeks. In fact, the ancient Greek word cannabisen, meaning to burn cannabis, is believed to have taken place in the form of incense burners burning cannabis along with frankincense resin, which is also known to be psychoactive, as well as other fragrant resins such as myrrh and balsam. It is not inconceivable then that such an incense may have played a role in some of the numerous divination rituals practiced in ancient Greece by the likes of Socrates and Pythagoras. What is known for sure though is that cannabis found its way to Rome via their conquest of Greece and appropriation of Greek philosophy, science and art. including Diosporites Materia Medica, a classic that influenced Western medicine well into the Middle Ages.